The air shimmered with an ethereal glow as Captain Elias Thorn stepped onto the surface of the unknown planet. His ship had crash-landed after an unexpected ambush from rogue space raiders. Stranded and in need of shelter, he had stumbled into the ruins of an ancient civilization, only to find himself face to face with an alien princess. She was radiant in a way he had never encountered before. Her skin bore the faint glisten of silver, and her luminescent violet eyes regarded him with both curiosity and suspicion. She was bound by intricate restraints of shimmering light, a prisoner in her own kingdom. Her regal attire, torn and stained with dust, suggested she had been through a struggle of her own. Elias hesitated before stepping closer, one hand instinctively resting on the hilt of his plasma blade. "Who are you?" The alien princess tilted her head, analyzing him with an expression that flickered between caution and relief. "You are not one of them." "Depends on who them is," Elias replied warily. "Are you in trouble?" A small, mirthless smile tugged at her lips. "Aren't we all?" With a swift motion, he activated his scanner, analyzing the composition of her restraints. They were energy-based, pulsing with a frequency that suggested an advanced technology far beyond what he had ever encountered. He looked at her again. "I can get you out of this, but first, I need to know if I'll regret it." Her luminous eyes met his. "I am Princess Alaria of Zelfar. I was betrayed, taken captive by those who seek to seize my throne. If you help me, you will be making a powerful enemy." Elias let out a low chuckle. "I make enemies every day. Tell me how to free you." With her guidance, he adjusted his plasma cutter to a precise frequency, slicing through the restraints. The moment they shattered, Alaria collapsed into his arms, her strength momentarily depleted. He steadied her, feeling the cool, silken texture of her alien skin beneath his hands. A distant explosion rumbled through the ruins, signaling the approach of her captors. Alaria's grip tightened on his forearm. "We must leave, now." Together, they sprinted through the labyrinthine ruins, weaving between crumbling structures that whispered of a long-lost civilization. As they reached the outskirts, a squad of heavily armed pursuers appeared on the horizon. Alaria turned to Elias, urgency flashing in her gaze. "There is only one way they will stop hunting us." Elias glanced at the advancing soldiers, then back at her. "I'm open to suggestions." She hesitated for the briefest of moments before gripping his wrist. "You must take me as your life partner." Elias nearly tripped over his own feet. "I must what?" In Zeltharian culture, once a bond is declared, it is sacred. "If I declare you as my mate, they will not dare harm us, at least, not immediately." He exhaled sharply. "That's some insane logic." "You saved me. That alone is enough justification in our customs. But it must be done convincingly." The sound of approaching boots left little time for argument. Elias sighed, shaking his head. "Fine. Let's do this." Alaria straightened, composing herself. Then, in a voice that echoed with authority, she called out to their pursuers. "Stand down. I have chosen my life partner." The soldiers skidded to a halt, exchanging stunned glances. Their leader, a tall, broad-shouldered alien with obsidian armor, narrowed his golden eyes. "You lie." Alaria lifted her chin defiantly. "Would you challenge a sacred bond?" Elias, playing along, pulled her close and wrapped an arm around her waist. "Yeah, I'd think twice before questioning my commitment," he said with an easy smirk. A tense silence followed before the leader exhaled sharply, signaling his men to lower their weapons. "You have forced our hand, princess. For now, we will not act. But know this, your claim will be tested." As the soldiers withdrew, Elias muttered under his breath, "What the hell did I just sign up for?" Alaria turned to him with an enigmatic smile. "A lifetime of unexpected adventures, Captain." With the immediate threat gone, they found shelter in a nearby cavern. As they sat near a small fire, Alaria studied him with open curiosity. You are different from the warriors of my world. You are reckless, yet you did not hesitate to help me. Elias smirked. Reckless is just another word for efficient under pressure. She laughed softly, a melodic sound that caught him off guard. Perhaps I was right to choose you. He shook his head. About that, is there any way to undo this sacred bond of yours? She hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. It is complicated. If we part ways too soon, it will be seen as a sign of weakness. It may invite further challenges to my rule. Elias groaned. Of course it would. Their conversation was interrupted by a faint hum that vibrated through the air. Alaria stiffened. They are scanning for us. We need to keep moving. They journeyed through the rugged terrain, evading patrols and gathering information. Along the way, Elias learned more about her world, its rich history, the conflicts tearing it apart, and the weight of the crown she had never wanted. Despite her royal upbringing, Alaria proved to be a formidable survivor, matching his wit and resilience at every turn. Days turned into weeks, and their alliance deepened into something neither of them dared name. What had begun as an act of survival had become something else entirely. Elias found himself drawn to her strength, her fire, and the quiet moments where she allowed herself to be vulnerable. And Alaria, despite her initial skepticism, saw in him a warrior unlike any other, one who did not seek power or status, but fought simply because he chose to. But peace was not theirs to keep for long. The forces that sought to claim Alaria's throne regrouped, launching an all-out assault. As they stood side by side in battle, Elias realized something that both thrilled and terrified him: he no longer wished to leave. Not without her. As the dust settled, Alaria turned to him, breathing heavily. It seems we have won the day. Elias smirked, wiping blood from his brow. Yeah, but what happens tomorrow? She met his gaze, something unspoken passing between them. That depends. Are you still looking for a way out? He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. You know, I think I might just be getting used to this whole life partner thing. Her laughter rang through the battlefield, and as the twin moons of Zelther rose above them, Elias knew one thing for certain: his life would never be the same again.